Thanks for tuning in to this week's kind of special edition of the Brett and Matt Show. He's Brett, I'm Matt. We wanted to take a little bit of time to touch on what happened in the NBA over the weekend here because, of course, we do a podcast hoping something's going to happen. Nothing happens, and then the next day, everything happens. So figured we would get our reactions while they're fresh. So let's just start right off. I mean, LeBron James makes his choice, goes back to the Cavaliers. What do you think, Brett?
I mean, okay, if you look, we people that watched, like 3 weeks ago podcast where we were speculating on things probably think we're idiots now. But at least it's fair because everyone else in the media was saying too that LeBron would probably just re-sign with the Heat, and this was just for fun, I guess. And but I liked it. I liked the way he did it. I know people were getting antsy over when is he going to make his decision, but I mean, it seemed like more mature. And the reason he did it, now obviously he's still getting paid. All right, he didn't just do a favor to Cleveland and come back for less. He's making what, 42 million over the next 2 years. But I liked it, and I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't jump on the Heat bandwagon when LeBron went there, but I texted you when it happened, and I said, yeah, I'm almost considering jumping on the Cavaliers bandwagon. Just something about LeBron this time, and it just felt more endearing and something that I could connect with, and I thought it was cool. Maybe it was me wanting to come back home too at some point, being stuck down in Indiana. Indiana's not Miami though.
Yeah, I mean, and from a business move, you think about it. So he signed 2 years, getting a ton of money. Then he can re-up with the Cavs again and sign for 5 years and a max deal, and he just made a ton of money.
It'll be a lot of money, and then 2 years too is when I think they're expecting the new TV deals to start kicking in, so the salary cap will bump up.
Yep.
So max deal for him when he can make 30, 35, I think it's 30, maybe it's 35% of the salary. I mean, yeah, he'll be making 25 million a year and playing in home and hopefully winning championships at that point with him, Kyrie, and maybe Kevin Love.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I like it. And he said, that, he understands there's some work that needs to be done with this roster, that, they're not necessarily going to win a title this year. He's got some work to do, but having his presence back in Cleveland, I think it'll be really good. I think it's good for the NBA, like, just in general. Like, I think it broke things up more. I like it. I'm actually excited about the Cavaliers, as is the other however many millions of Cavs fans who sold out the season tickets 8 hours into the decision being made. So, obviously a lot of people are excited. And to be fair, Cleveland, that poor place is just cursed. Like,
What's it been, 50 years or something since their last title in a major sport?
pretty much. What was the last one with the Browns? With Jim Brown?
Maybe. I don't even know. Let me look this up. Last Cleveland title.
It's gotta be something like that, man.
Road sport. Yeah, it's been, 50 years. Control that.
So, I mean, Cleveland, obviously, this is a big win for them. At least gives them a glimmer of hope. Did LeBron decide what number he's wearing, by the way?
I don't believe so.
He didn't wear 6 or he didn't wear 3 or got Cavs fans that burned all his jerseys and
Did you see the picture online of the guy that apparently burned his jersey, but he must have kept it because he was wearing it again after the signing? He was wearing like his burnt jersey. That's.
And did you see the way Miami's owner handled the whole thing? Classy guy.
I didn't see how he.
He said he thanked LeBron for his time in South Beach. Just handled it really classy.
And it's okay. Speaking of Miami, because obviously there's the Cleveland aspect, then there's the Miami, where everyone in the media obviously was like, "Well, why would you leave Miami for Cleveland?" Okay, well, he loves Cleveland, that's understandable. But then on ESPN, they were asking fans like, "Oh, what do you think?" And one dude was like, "I just think that he's like a backstabber and he's not loyal." I'm like, well, talk about irony here. I mean, the guy bailed on his hometown in the first place, and you were all cheering it. Now he's doing it to you, and you think he's a backstabber. I don't know. I just thought it was like a little head scratcher. Um, and they defaced that mural, which kind of sucks. But someone was classy enough to go back over it, and write "Thank you, LeBron" or whatever. I mean, they had four obviously spectacular years. They made it to the championship four times. They won two.
Apparently, that's not good enough for Heat fans who
Are the worst fans ever. Miami.
they leave the games. They barely even show up for their own games. Are you kidding me? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Miami sports fans are the worst sports fans. They're terrible. I mean, the baseball team could be doing well. They won. They made it to the playoffs. I think made like a run at the title. A couple of years
Yeah.
actually. No one shows up. The Dolphins, I think, aren't having necessarily. Granted, the team's not that great, but I mean, just in general, Miami, whatever. Their fans,
Miami.
they stink. Um, but obviously, Chris Bosh liked it, right?
Yeah, so that's our next thing. I mean, Chris Bosh opts to stay with Miami. It's the max deal, 5-year deal. Um, you almost gotta feel like he was going to Houston, and then all of a sudden, once Pat Riley realized I don't have anyone on my roster, I gotta sign someone. Gives Chris Bosh the max deal that he can. And Chris, I guess he feels like, I already got 2 titles. Like, sure, Houston was going to offer him a lot of money. As much, they're going to offer him a lot of money for a 4-year deal. And he would have a chance to win a title, but I guess he cares more about his money than necessarily winning a championship right away. At least that's what I think.
Well,
If you're high on Miami's roster.
Well, you mentioned it off screen too, as well. He's already been to 4 championships and he's won 2. I mean, it's not like he can't say it. He's never been at the top of his sport, or on a team at the top of the sport. And he really liked Miami. He obviously loved playing with LeBron, but LeBron's gone. But Miami's still Miami, and he enjoyed it there. So
Right. He did say before that he really likes South Beach, so.
I think it's funny too, looking back, how silly it is for us to just all assume that he was just going to go to Houston. Well, LeBron's gone, he can go to Houston. Well, wait a second. With LeBron gone, Miami can now offer him a max deal, whereas before they were trying to offer him 15 or 16 million a year to stay.
I think a lot of us, myself included, I guess I just didn't, no offense to Bosch, I just didn't think he was worth that much money.
Well, I mean, neither do I, but if
I thought the 4-year, $88 million deal, I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money, but to be able to pair him with James Harden and Dwight Howard, I really like that fit. But I guess now you're almost saying like Chris Bosh is our cornerstone. We're building the rest of the team around him for the next several years.
which could be interesting, considering, he's obviously at this point not the youngest guy either. How old's he going to be when this deal runs out? He's going to be 34, 35? How old is he right now? He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
And he went to college, so he's older than LeBron, right?
Yeah. Him and
Yeah, he's 30.
30. Okay, so he'll be 35 when the deal's up.
Oh goodness, I went to this website again. Unreal. Chris Sheridan, shush.
Yeah, so I mean, so do you like what the Heat did? They had to keep someone, right?
They did, and they had money. And they got, another guy that they brought into, since we're on the topic of the Heat, they brought in Luol Deng with a 2-year, $20 million deal. I still think it would be nice for them if they got like a true center now, because I feel like the way that they played with LeBron, and the reason, if you went back and look at some of Bosch's older highlight tape stuff where he was in Toronto, is he would have a face-up mid-range game and he could drive to the basket and he would, create, dunk, and do some other stuff. Whereas now with those last couple of years with Miami, he was just a perimeter guy. I think, if they got like a true center or someone else that could be the banger down low defensively, that could, keep him fresher, and he could at least go back to making, using not only his outside game, but going back and driving, creating some stuff on the inside, which he hasn't done lately.
Makes sense.
So I think that's something that they should focus on. There's not necessarily a lot of guys worthy of probably signing to be a true center. I mean, Greg Monroe, he's out there, but he's kind of a forward too, and he's restricted.
Yeah. So Detroit can match whatever they offer. I think Monroe's a center personally. I think they tried playing him at forward last year, and that worked out poorly. You can't play Monroe and Drummond both together because they're both centers. They both play like centers.
Yeah. So I mean, someone like him, if they were able to offer him enough, I don't know if Detroit would be interested in giving him a max deal at this point. Um, and I still don't know who the other starter. I mean, Dang, I'm assuming is going to start. Bosch, Dwayne Wade, who hasn't signed yet, but I'm
We can
assuming
just
they're going to use as much cap space as they can and then sign Dwayne, and then they can go over the cap if they need to, since that's the keeping their own sort of thing that the NBA allows.
right.
Um, Danny Granger? No, he's not going to start. Not unless the Heat know something that the Pacers and the Clippers didn't know, considering, he got traded and wasn't even used in the playoffs. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it'll be
Josh,
interesting to see what the Heat do with their lineup this next year. We'll see how many fans show up to those games.
all right. Um, what else? I don't really know what their situation is like and who they're even targeting now. Obviously, I knew they were going with Dang. Ariza was another option, but he ended up with the Rockets. We'll get to that in a minute because we've got other bigger things to tackle first,
Like Melo.
like Melo.
Carmelo Anthony opts to stay in New York. Um, I like the move. I think, after these next couple of years, they'll be able to get some money off the books, and they'll really be able to build that team around Melo. He's got championship caliber president of basketball operations. um, he's
Right? And
gonna
and
he'll
his
get to
coach.
essentially be because Derek Fisher's gonna bring the triangle offense, and much how like Kobe Bryant was the focal point of that offense, well now Carmelo Anthony will be the focal point of that offense. So, um, I don't know. I like the fit, and like he kind of bitched and moaned his way to get to New York in the first place. Like why, you know, ultimately with the way things shaped up after LeBron made his decision and everything. I mean, ultimately you might as well just stay. Like you like it there. I mean, your family likes it there. There's no really real reason to leave. Oh, and you can make your money.
Yeah, I mean he's 100 and is it 118 or no, or is it more? I think it's more than that
Might have been
even.
more than that.
Um, and obviously right now the Knicks weren't a very good team, but he's got his money, and if he really wants, he could try to force his trade at some point if he doesn't like the direction. But I expect Phil Jackson to do some good things. I know they got Cle Anthony early in the draft, who I think was a pretty good prospect. Drafted him in the second round. He was the best player on that Wichita State team. Um, I know they were also disappointed. They were trying to get Pau Gasol, I believe.
They
Uh,
were.
but hey, you miss out on Pau. You could get Mark next year when I think Mark's a free agent. It's not much of a downgrade. Plus, he's younger, and he's still going to provide a nice, position at center. Um, and I think too, it was interesting. We're all like, well, once LeBron makes his decision, that's when everyone else will make theirs. I almost think a little bit that Melo kind of was, because at least Melo thought about going to other places. There was the Lakers and Chicago were places, and those teams couldn't make a decision until after, or other decisions until Melo made his choice.
Hmm.
So Melo was almost just as important as LeBron in terms of kicking free agency off,
Really was.
as far as I'm concerned. Um, but yeah, I mean, hell, if you're Melo, sure, that's a lot of money. You can't turn down that kind of money. That's a lot. He likes New York. His wife likes New York. And Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher are gonna get the job done. I think at some point. It might not be for a year or two, but
New York's gonna turn back into a championship caliber team. I think. Just give them a couple of years here.
right.
Um, but you mentioned Pau Gasol. Well, he ended up going to the Bulls. Um, I think I kind of like that fit.
It's
Big
I
man
think
who
it's
can
good.
pass the ball around. Um, he's not a defensive stud, but they have other pieces play defense instead of him.
Yeah. Well, especially, I mean, because what Taj Gibson and Joakim Noah are some of the better interior defensive big men in the league.
For sure.
Um, and he's going to help, facilitate the offense, provide some scoring for a team that, even with, Derrick Rose on the floor when he was healthy, still had trouble, consistently creating points. And I think, Powell will help out in that area. So it definitely helped them. They're going to be, and I think they should be a contender this upcoming season in the East, along with if the Pacers do just status quo, maybe they can keep Lance. We'll talk about him, I think, a little bit later too. Um, them and then obviously just Cleveland because they have LeBron. But Washington could actually be a pretty decent team. Um, they were pretty good this last year.
They made some noise this last year.
I mean, the East is kind of open, but I think the Bulls should definitely be probably the number one contender now with Powell.
Really?
I think the West is happy.
Bulls are number one for you in the East, huh?
I'm expecting
Taking the Cavs. Taking the Cavs right now, number one.
you're going Cavs.
Going
I
Cavs.
mean, Vegas thinks so. I think they're just. I don't know how they're
You
the
could
number
put
one.
LeBron James on the Bucks, and I would have said the Bucks are going to win.
We would have had. Would have been a good team.
I just think it's a testament to how good James is and how bad the rest of the Eastern Conference is.
That's true. I mean, but if you take into account, now I don't know what the Bulls had to give up to get Pau Gasol.
Did they have to amnesty Boozer?
Let's see. Pau
I know there's
Gasol.
all sorts of talks that they were thinking about it, but I don't know if they actually did or not. I don't remember. I don't recall seeing anything specifically saying that they did.
Oh, Amnesty Boozer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what. Let's see. Wow, he turned down a 2-year, $22 million deal to stay with the Lakers. That's funny. I guess he talked to management, though. I read something and it said, obviously he's older. He doesn't have a lot of time left, and the Lakers are just not good. And he talked to management, and their view for the short term didn't match up with what Powell was hoping for, so he had to get out of there. But yeah, I mean, okay. Getting back to it'd be, a healthy Derrick Rose. You got Jimmy Butler, you got Pau Gasol, and the other interior guys defensively. At least they'll be a good defensive team, and with Rose back and Gasol on the court, offensively they'll be better. They could probably still use another scorer. I don't know where they're going to find it.
They drafted him.
Oh, well, that's true. Dougie McBuckets, right? You don't even like him. Why would you even consider him? You're just mocking me.
I'm just trying to help you out, man. You just picked the Bulls to just win the East.
I
You
said
realize
it
you
should
look at
be.
Derrick Rose wrong and he's gonna get hurt, right?
Hey, I'm saying as of now, I'm expecting him to be healthy.
You didn't even pick your hometown Pacers. Why didn't you
No,
pick them?
they stink. I watched them too many times. They're like the Bulls, only
Only they have Paul George, who's much better than
only
anyone on the
more
Bulls. Come on.
only more maddening. No, can't do it.
At least he
Especially
stays
because Lance.
healthy, unlike
Okay, if Lance is gone, who's in the backcourt? I mean,
Larry.
George Dillon.
Larry Bird will figure it out. He's a smart guy. He'll figure something out.
God, if we got to start any of the guys the Pacers sign, we're in deep trouble.
Maybe they'll make a run at someone. I don't know. It's a good question.
Um, I think, Lance I think would be an important part of that, and um, from the sounds of it, Charlotte's interested in Lance. Dallas is interested in Lance.
So you're telling me right now that you're gonna pick the Bulls. I assume you're having the Cavaliers make it to who they play in the finals, right?
Probably.
Taking the Bulls over the Cavs. I don't even think the Bulls are gonna get there.
No?
I just don't see it. As soon as Derrick Rose goes down with an injury, who the heck's gonna score?
See, but you're assuming there's an injury. I'm assuming there's not. So there's a slight difference, obviously, in how
It's
we're
gonna
viewing things.
happen. I don't know why you're ignoring this. Even if Derrick Rose is healthy, I don't think it matters. What? Because what they're gonna do is they're just gonna stick LeBron on Derrick Rose, and then in crunch time,
It's possible.
they probably don't even. Oh no, I lied. Kyrie Irving,
Defensively, he's not going to stick with Derrick Rose.
he doesn't play defense. So,
And that team, the way it's constructed now, outside of LeBron and perhaps Andrew Wiggins, defensively, isn't very good.
what about Anderson Varejao? They got a great rim protector from Brazil.
He isn't.
He's
Varejao.
not terrible. He's better than the center they had in Miami.
Well, the center in Miami was kind of Bosch.
Well, in that case, he might not be, but
Varejao. The guy hasn't played a full season ever.
it's all right. Derrick Rose has played like two. Actually, probably not even.
So if you're counting on Varejao to be your rim protector, Matt, come on now. Let's be serious.
Yeah, that's true. Might have some issues then. Well, let's put LeBron at center then. But then who's going to take Derrick Rose? You know what? Andrew Wiggins is going to be a defensive stopper. Putting Andrew Wiggins on him.
On Rose?
Yep. But then who's going to cover Jimmy Butler?
Well, that would be LeBron.
I just put LeBron at center. He can't cover both.
Come on, Matt. You just put LeBron at center?
I'm
Trying to
running
guard
out of lineups
Paul
here.
Gasol and Joakim Noah. He's good, but
Oh my God. Joakim, he's scrappy. He's not good. He's scrappy offensively.
oh well, yeah.
You're
But
not worried about him facing you up. He
Oh,
doesn't
no.
really have that good a play. He just works hard on the glass.
Hey, that'll wear LeBron down. And if you put LeBron at center, Joakim's a tough guy. He's gonna throw his body around. He doesn't care.
And he's gonna call for offensive fouls.
And LeBron's gonna get hurt too. Maybe he'll get cramps. I don't know.
I thought you were cheering for the Cavs. Now why are you making fun of them?
Hey, I'm just trying to back up my Bulls here.
Oh, okay. So we got you on the Bulls. I'm on the Cavs.
Yeah.
So when we come back to this conversation, late, sometime next
Yeah, 10 months from
year, hopefully I'll remember that this podcast has this documented.
It'll be out on the internet forever.
So anyways, back to free agent stuff. You hit on Ariza going to the Rockets. Me? What do you? He plays the three, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the
Oh,
part.
so they're gonna let Parsons go then, huh?
I mean, I would assume. Well, yeah. I don't know.
Why else would you sign him unless?
Because what was the deal they gave him? I mean, if it's not an outrageous amount, I guess he could always be kind of like that sixth man off the bench.
He could be, but
And I mean, that would work. It would obviously keep a good player. Because the way that the Houston was about to be constructed, had they got Bosch, they would have been a great starting five. And then they would have had you and me coming off the bench to play because they just weren't in a good spot from a cap situation to have anyone come off
their
the
bench
bench.
was okay.
Wouldn't have been okay.
What? God,
Who would have come off the bench in Houston?
Jones.
Had Bosch gone there.
Still would have had Jones. Well, Lynn wouldn't have been there anymore. Osik wouldn't have been there anymore. Okay, yeah, fine. I can't name any of the bench players.
So, and Ariza got $8 million a year, so it's not like, I mean, that's half of what Chandler Parsons would be getting paid. I think that'd be a decent guy to come on. He'd be making less than Lance Stevenson.
They should just sign Ariza, let Parsons go, keep their money now, and they can make a run at Kevin Durant later.
That's 2 years down the road. They'll get Speaking of making a run at Durant, the move that I think with Washington, we mentioned them, Paul Pierce going to Washington,
To mention that now, yeah, Paul Pierce going to Washington.
2-year deal. I think there's an option on that second year. I think it's a player option even. Um, Kevin Durant from Washington. In 2 years, he's a free agent. There you go. You take Paul Pierce off the books. You got an opening at small forward. You hope he makes the same decision that LeBron made and he goes home, right?
That's what they're hoping. Would make things fun. Um, yeah, I could dig that.
And
Um,
that team would be pretty good too.
yeah, my boy John Wall. Flex on those haters, man. What? He's a good player now. He wasn't when that song came out, really, but
That's true. He's better than I was giving him credit
he's
for.
gotten a lot better than he used to be.
And Bradley Beal's there.
Bradley Beal's starting to come in. Yeah,
I don't think what's his name? Was that Gortat? Was he on the?
they were able to re-sign him.
Oh, he did resign. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. 5 years, $60 million deal. So I mean, that team would be a good team. And I know they're trying to clear up some cap space and go make a run after KD, like every other team is in the league. I'm assuming going to try to do,
Except for
um,
Milwaukee.
except for Milwaukee. We don't have a shot. We
Um,
got our KD. His name's Giannis.
dude, did you see he had 17 points in summer league game the other night?
Did you see him take 2 dribbles and go like half the distance of the court for a
Then
dunk?
dunked it.
That's not fair.
Dude, if he could ever put it together, he would be. He has all the talent, man. He's so young, so lanky. He's starting to hit some three-pointers, though, on a more consistent basis. Granted,
Right?
it was one game.
Him at the 3 and Jabari at the 4.
I watched Jabari go coast to coast, too.
Right, and they played Andrew Wiggins' team.
They lost.
Oh, that's fine.
We lost by 2 points.
It's summer league. I don't care much for that.
We didn't have Larry Sanders. That's the issue. They didn't have LeBron James, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, summer league's for the young guys mostly, so
oh
maybe
yeah,
we should stick Larry down there and let him sweat the weed out of the system or something. Um, anyway, other moves: Vince Carter, 37 years old, I believe, going to Memphis on a 3-year deal.
that a
Apparently,
wild
they're
career, man.
counting on him being good until he's 40. Um, he showed some stuff last year, though. I mean,
You're just taking that deal for the money, though, right? Let's be real. Memphis has no chance at all.
yeah, probably not. I mean, they're good and they're a playoff team, but they're not.
Playoff team.
Memphis?
They weren't a playoff team last year, were they?
The Memphis Grizzlies are a playoff caliber team. Are you doubting that Memphis is
I
with
don't know. Did they make the
Zebo
playoffs
and
last year? Am I losing my mind?
Zebo and Gasol and all them? Come on.
Gasol was hurt.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be hurt this year.
He's gonna be a free. Oh, come on. Wait. Did they make the? They didn't make the playoffs last year, did they?
I swear to God, I thought they did.
You're yanking my chain right now, right?
Yeah, they made the playoffs. They were a
What?
7th seed.
Sorry,
They played
Memphis
Oklahoma
fans.
City. They played Oklahoma City.
Oh, you're right. Touche. Whoops, my bad, Memphis fans. I just thought the Phoenix was a better team than you, I guess.
Phoenix didn't even make the
Phoenix
playoffs.
didn't make the playoffs. And I was pissed because I wanted them to make the playoffs.
I mean, with 48 wins, they would have been a 3 or a 4 seed in the East, but in the West, they weren't even in the playoffs.
That's right. No, you're right. Memphis actually kind of gave Oklahoma City a little bit of a shove. That's right. How did I forget about that? Anyways, yeah, Vince Carter goes there. I mean, the West is competitive, man.
Uh, it's the other moves. Jeremy Lin traded to the Lakers along with a couple of draft picks for the rights to some guy that was drafted 10 years ago and still hasn't come over to the NBA yet. So basically, Houston just dumped him. Trying to clear up space for Bosh, who didn't even show up. Um, and my friend uh, is a Lakers fan, and he's not too happy with the way the Lakers are performing. The front office. He's not liking these moves at all. But I mean, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Lynn is a serviceable guy. Um, he can score. He's a shoot first kind of point guard. Whereas right now, Kendall Marshall is a passer, so he brings another dynamic to an offense. Um, and his deal's expiring, and they got draft picks out of it. So I mean, they'll free up cap space after this year, and they got additional picks. I don't know why it's not a good decision. Like I thought it was pretty solid on the Lakers for a short-term solution just to free up cap space and get draft picks.
It doesn't seem
Um,
like a bad deal to me, but I mean,
I
you're
mean,
not.
his
Let's be real. Are you gonna win this year anyways? No.
no. And to be fair, my friend too was upset with the decision because he thought for sure that meant that Bosch was going to be a rocket, and obviously in the West, he's like, well, why the hell are we helping out another, conference
Like,
rival?
yeah, that's true.
But now that Bosch isn't there, it's not helping out Houston as much. Now they still have cap space for Ariza and Parsons if they want to do such a thing. But um, I like that move. And another trade out west was Isaiah Thomas getting traded to the Suns.
Sign and trade, right?
Yes,
Went to the Suns, um, where they like multiple point guards.
they do. And I know they're looking at him to be like that number three guy, that first guy off the bench, I think, to kind of help in that rotation, keep everyone fresh, keep everyone, uh, good throughout the season. And they can score. Now, obviously, Bledsoe is the other guy that they're counting on as being that starter, but he's a restricted free agent too, right?
Yes. And you know what's funny? Do you remember that the Kings were actually the team that got the rights to Jimmer Fredette?
Yeah.
Do you know who was taken in the second round that year?
Was that Isaiah?
Isaiah Thomas.
Was he the last pick in the draft? I think he was the last pick in the draft that year.
I would like to point out that the lottery pick ended up not being good at all. The guy, the second round pick, he's actually found a nice little place in the league. Oh, rocking to some music.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's happening here. Let's see. 2011 draft, 60th overall. Yeah, he was.
Wow.
How did they acquire the last pick? They weren't obviously good that year. That must have been a unique trade. Oh,
Oh,
from Chicago via Milwaukee. I don't know how we got that pick then. Um, but yeah, that'll be good. And obviously, there's some teams that should be interested in Bledsoe, trying to make a run at him. At
there are
least
lots of teams interested in his services.
make an offer. At least I know Miami's interested.
The Bucks are interested.
Are we?
Yes.
That'd be nice. I'd like to have two combo type guards like
Be
with
nice.
him
You could
and
play him and Knight interchangeably.
yeah, that'd be kind of nice. I know we were interested. Now see, for our sake, maybe we could have done what the Lakers did and traded Lynn and then or traded for Lynn, but I would much rather have Bledsoe. Um,
So the last little thing I have to discuss with you is now that LeBron's made a decision, we touched on this on one of our earlier podcasts. The idea that Kevin Love would be interested in going to the Cavs if LeBron's there. So he has said he's interested still in, if something like that were to happen and signing long term with the Cavs. But Minnesota wants Andrew Wiggins, and the Cavs are pretty much, at least right now, not budging, saying that he's off limits. So my question to you is it worth keeping Andrew Wiggins, who's, let's just be real, he's unknown, versus acquiring arguably probably the best power forward in the game right now?
and he did. My only issue is that it's from a cap point, right? Okay, so now you're going to have a big three again with Irving and LeBron and Love. And I know that the cap is going to keep going up and there's going to be more space to sign, mid-tier type guys, but you're still not going to have the type of depth, that you're going to have when you have younger pieces like Wiggins on rookie deals,
Right.
where you can, if you need to sign free agents in the next 4 years, you can go ahead and do so before Wiggins signs his deal to help close up some depth issues or specific need issues. Whereas with Love, I don't know what you're going to do from a depth point of view.
So you're saying that you would rather keep Wiggins than trade for Love?
I mean, if I could, and I knew I could figure it out financially, how I'm going to build some talent around these guys, and that's what the new CBA was for, by the way. It was pushed on, by the way, by the Cleveland owner. He was a stickler on the new CBA, trying to prevent, big threes from happening again. Kind of funny now and ironic, considering it's what he's hoping for. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it's just harder to keep, I think, three, highly paid guys on the same team unless they're all willing again to make sacrifices, which maybe 2 years from now LeBron would be after that his first 2 years are up and he re-signs with the team. Um, but that's not something you can bank on, that any of them or all of them are going to want to take less.
Hmm.
So I'd rather just have a bunch of guys that,
Okay, what if money's not involved?
well, if money's not involved, well then hell yeah, I would like to have Kevin Love on the team. I mean, he's not helping the team defensively at all.
So if
Um,
money's not involved, you want Andrew, if you're the Minnesota, you want Andrew Wiggins and a couple first rounders.
you'd take Wiggins, um, you take some draft picks and probably even something else. Maybe an actual player with like an expiring deal just to wait for the season to be over, or use him as like trade bait for somebody else in the middle of the year that needs space.
Sure.
Um, which is weird. I mean, because this sort of stuff, we followed football the most, and we understand that the best. I think of all the sports is how interesting and different free agency is in the NBA or trades. Whereas you just trade a guy because his deal is expiring and it means freeing up space for free agency. I don't feel like that happens a whole lot in the NFL.
Trades in general don't happen a whole lot in the NFL.
Um, so this is kind of fun and unique and different for us trying to follow this closely for like the first time.
It's definitely
Uh,
been fun. I think, boy, because Wiggins has a lot of potential, but
right,
if
and
you
you
really
you
want
don't.
to win now, acquiring Kevin Love's going to do that for you. I just, I mean, Wiggins could end up being, he could end up being the next big time star. Who knows? Like, he could also just end up being someone that's really good on defense that kind of scores sometimes and doesn't,
When he feels like it.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how he develops and if one of these two teams is willing to budge too. If if push comes to shove and it gets down to the wire where they really want Kevin Love and maybe they pull the trigger on him and send Wiggins over and they get Kevin Love.
So you're saying you would want Love, right?
I'm saying I don't know because a part of me, it's weird because it's almost like, do I build for the long term or do I go for it now? Well, we're here to win title. Like you manage a
But
team to win titles, not to keep building in the future. So
well,
I'm
that's
with you. I would trade Wiggins.
it's debatable what you own a team for, because owners make money and they keep money by making money. So you can make money without winning titles.
If you're an NBA team, it's not about making money. Or at least if I owned an NBA team, it wouldn't be. I want to win championships.
See, well, that's the type of owner
That
you would
probably
be.
means I'm a billionaire, right? If I own an NBA team,
Probably, but
I probably have some other source of income
how
besides
do you
just
think
this
you
NBA.
became a billionaire, Matt? Because you didn't just spend money for shits and giggles. You spent money to make money, or didn't spend money to make money, perhaps. And that's why you are a billionaire and remain a billionaire.
I want Kevin Love, making it happen.
Fair enough.
Put him on my team, and I think we beat your Bulls for sure. Then I'm not even worried about the Bulls.
Probably not. But the issue, okay. So what if you trade? Because Wiggins, you said, is an unknown, right? It's a potential thing. What if you trade him and he becomes what people expected him to become?
Well, then maybe in 4 years when he comes a free agent, we can make a run.
Right? Well, maybe he's gonna go all LeBron and go back to like Toronto or something. His only Canadian team he can
Would
go to.
probably go back to Toronto, yes. Him and Anthony Bennett can go hang out.
right? Hmm.
Bennett's not going to last very long in the Cavs, and he's going to get even less playing time if they get Kevin Love.
It'll.
Ooh, that would be fun though. If they get Kevin Love, do you think they play him at center? No.
I mean, not with Verjao there. I
No.
mean, he'll probably spend some time small ball center once in a while.
So that means LeBron gets to move back to the three then.
Yeah, which would push. I mean, obviously Waiters and Irving, and then Bennett and whoever else they got would be coming off the bench. They could do some small ball stuff um, with Kevin Love. He's played center before in Minnesota. Unfortunately, when he was playing center, they gave up a lot of points. So it might not be the best decision to put Love at center, but you could do it for short spurts of time if you really need to go small ball for matchup purposes.
Right.
Um, but other than that, probably a bad idea.
That's fair. Well, anything
Um,
else you'd like to discuss on this special edition?
no, I mean I'm expecting Lance Stevenson to make up his mind soon. He's got to. He's like probably at least the biggest name and best player that's unrestricted still out there. Um,
Probably.
and I know he's got a couple of suitors now. I think I mentioned that earlier. World Cup is on right now. I kind of got the little box score in the corner, 0-0 still. Are we still gonna do something on Tuesday, or
Yeah, we could probably do that.
if we'll see if anything happens?
Well, we'll see how much news we have going around. But until then, thanks for tuning in, guys.